Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is our first look at set 5.5. This is footage taken from the public beta environment, the PBE. You can tell by the fact that my name is Sula PBE here, and I have the True Ice Feather Knight, which I don't have on my main account. This is footage taken from the very first day that set 5.5 was on the public beta environment, so things are very new here. And we're going to try to take an early look at this and show you some gameplay footage of the new set. Now, overall, set 5.5 does not look very different from set 5. That's kind of my overriding impression. The changes are much more minimal in set 5.5 as compared to set 5 than with some of the previous mid-set updates that they did. For example, set 4.5 made significantly more changes to the gameplay than set 4. Set 4.5 to set 4 made more changes than set, what are we on here? Set 5.5 to set 5. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is there are fewer changes here than what you've seen in other previous sets. So what's different here? Well, there's really two big things that have changed. The shadow items have been removed. If you've been following the news, this is kind of the biggest change. No more shadow items. I think that the shadow items were essentially just seen as being too complicated, and so as a result, they have gone away. They have been replaced with radiant items, which do not have any negative effects. They just give really, really strong, overpowered effects, and they appear in an armory. At the beginning of stage 3-6, you'll get radiant items from an armory, and that's kind of the way that they work overall. You will get a choice between 5 radiant items. We'll see that in a little bit here. But no more components, no more shadow items, no more components. The fact that the radiant items, you don't actually make them, they just kind of appear on the screen and you pick which one you want, is honestly, I think, not that interesting, really. I mean, the radiant items are strong, don't get me wrong. But, you know, there's not a lot of room for choice. So anyway, we'll talk more about that. The other thing is, of course, there are some different champions and there are some different traits here in this patch. So overall, they're not as much as you might think in terms of changes there. There's really only a handful of traits being swapped out and a couple of other ones being swapped in. So, you know, unlike in the previous mid-set updates where kind of big, important, like set-defining traits were swapped in and swapped out, they kind of got rid of traits that were pretty marginal. The main ones that are out are Coven and Dragon Slayer, which were, you know, certainly a part of the set, but not all that important overall. Verdant is also gone, and then some stuff like God King, which was, let's face it, God King was barely even a trait in set 5. So, like I said, some changes, but not as significant as you would think. And we really only have 2 traits that are added in set 5.5, those being the Sentinel trait, which is the main new trait. It's a big vertical scaling trait in the lines of like Dawnbringer or Redeemed or what have you. And the other big trait that's being added is Cannoneer, which is like a complementary supporting trait. Anyway, in this video, I am going to be playing through those new traits, Sentinel and Cannoneer. And I'm going to be talking about what they do, and wanted to showcase a game that had these traits in play, just because it would be more new content than what we see in the other. If I were playing like I played another game where I played Dawnbringers, but Dawnbringers hasn't really shifted all that much. It's pretty similar. Like Redeemed hasn't really shifted all that much. Nightbringer is the trait that kind of got gutted the most because there's honestly not that much left to Nightbringer. It lost kind of its most important units. Alright, so what's going on in this game right now? Well, I'm trying to build into a Sentinel Cannoneer setup, but you need 3 Sentinel units to play it. So far, I only have 2 Sentinel units, so I cannot get the trait in play right now. And I'm looking for a Cannoneer to put these items that are currently on Vayne. The unit I need to find there is Tristana. She is kind of the early Cannoneer unit that you would want to put these items on. Trist is not a Sentinel, but she is a good fit for a Sentinel comp because she has the Cannoneer trait, and that combines with some of the other Sentinel units. So, for example, Senna, I've made a 2-star Senna. Senna is Cannoneer plus Sentinel, and now that I have found a 3rd Sentinel unit, I'm going to swap in the trait, And that means we do lose the Ranger trait, so Vayne's going to lose her extra attack speed. But I wanted to run with this and see how it works. Note that I have lost the early round so far. I was a little surprised that I lost, like so badly, but it turns out that the comps I was hitting are actually the strongest comps in the lobby, and I kept hitting them in these early rounds. So I have the Sentinel trait in right now. I am hopefully going to highlight what this trait does, well, briefly on the video. I will describe what it does in a minute after we get past this this PvP round, and then I'll talk a little bit more about what happens. Unfortunately for this fight, I'm up against a Redeem comp, and I'm hitting a very tanky Leona, 2-star Leona with the Knight trait, with the Redeem trait, and with the Wormogs on, so just not really doing any damage whatsoever, unfortunately. And yep, that can happen, even with the Last Whisper to shred the armor on that Leona. Just cannot cut through that unit that quickly at this stage of the game with my body of mostly 1-star units. All right, so I'm going to have a chance to pick here between what I want. There is a spatula here that I considered taking, but I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted. And ultimately, I was like, I want to play through Trist, so I'm just going to take the Tristana because I haven't seen any Trist yet, and I kind of need her to play this team composition that I have. So ultimately, I just take the Trist, even though I don't really want the armor on Trist. It is half of a Guardian Angel, and Guardian Angel is a good item on Tristana, just due to the way she works. She is probably my favorite unit that's been added in this set. So even though I'm going to go down from a 2-star Vayne to a 1-star Tristana, I still think that she is better here in this situation. And honestly, she's probably a little overpowered in this patch for a 2-cost unit. Also, I need to find another unit to put in here. I was going to add the Varus in for attack speed, but now Varus doesn't do anything, so I was like, okay, I don't really have another unit to play here that fits this comp. So I'll just stay here at level 4 then, and we'll see how this works. Now, Tristana as a unit, Trist is Hellion plus Cannoneer, and her specific ability is that when her mana bar fills up, she will rocket jump. That's her ability, the rocket jump. It's no longer the explosive shot from previous sets, so she will jump, whoop, there she goes, over to the other end. If she has an enemy unit next to her, she will jump away to the other side of the arena. That's what we saw there. If there's no unit next to her, excuse me, if there's no unit next to Trist, she will rocket jump into the back line to the enemy team and start shooting them. So you can see why Guardian Angel is good on her. She puts herself in very dangerous positions by rocket jumping. But I just find Trist like flying around on screen to be extremely amusing. So yeah, and I'm actually going to grab a Hellion here. I'm going to grab the Kennen and look to toss in Kennen because he is a Hellion, and now the Hellion tiers are, instead of 3 and 5, Hellion is a 2, what is it, a 2, 4, 6, 8 ability instead of a 3, 5, 7. So you can get a little bit of extra attack speed just by putting in a second Hellion. All right, so this is a good opportunity to talk about what these new traits do. So let's highlight the first trait, Sentinel. I'm going to read the official description. Keep in mind that this is the public beta environment, so what these traits actually do will likely change on the numbers. All right, Sentinel. At the start of the combat, the Sentinel with the highest health gains a shield that grants attack speed each time it's applied. When the shield is destroyed or expires, it will pass to the ally with the lowest percentage health. And at Sentinel 3, it is a 200 HP shield that grants 30% attack speed and lasts for 4-second duration. So we actually win that round. Again, even though I wasn't really expecting to win these last 2 rounds, there's another Tristana that we see someone on the other team playing. And that's actually good for the lobby because one of the people who hadn't lost yet ended up losing a round. All right, but did you get all of that? So what the Sentinel does is it puts a shield on your team at the start of the combat. Whoever has the highest health starts with the shield. The shield grants attack speed. As you go up in ranks of Sentinel, it grants more attack speed. And the shield moves around during the fight, which is kind of the interesting thing. It's like this white bubble that kind of jumps around from place to place. It looks a little bit like, I don't know, like various support. It looks a little like a Janus shield. It moves around kind of like a Nami bubble. But it moves around from unit to unit during the fight. And if you watch closely, you'll see that happening during these combat rounds. And whoever has the shield gets bonus attack speed. So I get a drop of a BF sword there. I was like, all right, I'll just make GA here because it is a good item on the Tristana. Now when she rocket jumps into the middle of the enemy team, she will have some protection there. So that's what the Sentinel does. Provides some shielding, provides attack speed. And it's, like I said, it's an ability that is pretty interesting. It doesn't scale great into the late game because it only affects one unit at a time. But it's pretty good for the early game. I think it's more of an early and mid-game trait. There you go. As you get more ranks in Sentinel, the duration of the shield actually goes down, which means that it bounces around from unit to unit more frequently, which is good because it's resetting the shield every time. And if you go up to Sentinel 9, which requires finding a Sentinel spatula, because there's only, or a Sentinel emblem, I should technically say, because you can't make a Sentinel spatula with a spatula. It's not a recipe you can make yourself. If you can find a Sentinel emblem, then you can get up to Sentinel 9, which is a 1000% attack speed bonus. And it also provides a, what is it, a 1000 HP shield. It's ridiculous. Oh, and it moves every second, apparently. So you've got like a 1000 HP shield moving to a new target every single second. So pretty crazy, and granting 1000% attack speed. I haven't seen that yet, but I'm curious to see that in action. It does require you to play an awful lot of Sentinel units, so it might not actually be that good. All right, so that's Sentinel as a trait. I am going to go ahead and level to 6 here on the standard 3-2 timing window. And then I go ahead and roll, and I was like, normally I don't try not to roll below 20 gold, but I have, what, 5 pairs here? So I roll until I can hit some more of these pairs, and I end up hitting Cannon 2-star and Nidalee 2-star, neither of which are Sentinels, and neither of which are Cannoneers. So I'm trying to play like Sentinel plus Cannoneer because that's a natural trait pairing. Senna has Sentinel plus Cannoneer, and Lucian also has Sentinel plus Cannoneer. But instead of kind of hit these Skirmisher units, and Sentinel can play into Skirmisher pretty easily because there's a number of overlap there as well. You have a unit that I haven't found yet, which is Aurelia, who is both a Sentinel and a Skirmisher. But like I said, there's a fair bit of overlap there between the units. So like I said, you got to play what you hit. And I hit the 2-star Cannon, and I hit the 2-star Nidalee, and I was like, all right, well, this feels pretty good. 3 Skirmisher, 3 Sentinel, 2 Hellion, 2 Cannoneer. Feels like this is a pretty well put together team composition, so I will run with this for the time being, and, you know, we'll see how well this goes. Fortunately, the other player who hadn't lost yet in the lobby finally loses a round. But unfortunately, this means now I'm going to have to not spend a lot of gold because I rolled all the way down to 10 gold, which is justified if you are in a situation like I was there. I had, you know, a whole bunch of 1-star units and a gazillion pairs. So I think I was right to go ahead and take that. All right, let's look at the Cannoneer ability. I was just highlighting it, but I will read the full description to you guys here. Cannoneer, every 5th Cannoneer attack is replaced with a cannon shot that deals a percentage of that attack's damage in an explosion around the target as physical damage. Cannoneer 2 is 250% damage. Cannoneer 4 is 550% damage. Cannoneer 6 is 2000% damage. That requires getting double Cannoneer emblems because there's only 4 Cannoneers in the game. Those being Senna, Tristana, Misfortune, and Lucian. So you're probably not going to see 6 Cannoneer very often since it requires double Cannoneer emblems, which, let's face it, are not going to happen very often because you can't make a Cannoneer with a spatula recipe. You just have to rely on emblems dropping from armories or carousels or what have you. Alrighty, so I go ahead and win that round as well. Won that round pretty easily overall. And now we're going to have a chance for another carousel right here. This early in the set, I don't have a great sense for what I should be grabbing from these armories. And I think that, yeah, there's the spatula's going to... Probably would have just taken the spatula if it had still been there. And so at this point, I was like, you know what? I'll just take a tank item, or try to take a tank item. I'll take the Rakan with the chain vest because I'm already playing Rakan. And Rakan with the chain vest is just a better unit there. So I'll just toss him in. And the biggest weakness of my comp right now is I really don't have much in the way of frontline. The frontline unit for this Sentinel team composition is supposed to be Galio, who's a 4-cost unit. He is a Knight plus Sentinel and Draconic, which is kind of interesting, has that 3rd trait. But Galio is supposed to be your frontline, and I have not found him yet, which makes sense because he's a 4-cost unit. It's hard to find 4-cost units this early. You see me highlighting the Sentinel trait there again. A little bit more. I was actually just looking to see what other Sentinels I was missing, and the one I'm really missing right now is Aurelia, who's only a 2-cost unit. Aurelia is Skirmisher Sentinel, and wait, I believe Olaf is also Skirmisher Sentinel as well, is that right? Olaf is a 1-cost unit. I'm just double checking here. Again, this is still very new to me because this is the beginning of the patch. Yeah, Olaf is Skirmisher Sentinel, and then Aurelia is also Skirmisher Sentinel as well, along with Legionnaire. So there's natural synergy for Sentinels to play into Skirmisher and also to play into Cannoneer. So if you're playing this trait setup, you're probably going to be playing a mixture of Skirmisher plus Sentinel plus Cannoneer. Alright, now here is the Radiant Armory. We get our choice between different Radiant items. All of these are really, really strong. They all have extremely powerful effects, but you can only pick one of them. I was thinking a little bit about the Bloodthirster because it's like a supercharged Bloodthirster, but I have to go with the Shroud of Stillness version. And this is the case for a number of these items. The utility items are really good. So this is or not a Shroud of Stillness, Zephyr. It's the Radiant Zephyr, excuse me. Get those items confused sometimes. So it does the same thing as a normal Zephyr. It's going to pick up an enemy unit and take them out of combat, but instead of taking them out of combat for 6 seconds, it's going to take them out of combat for 10 seconds. And unlike the Shadow Zephyr, which had a negative effect, the Radiant Zephyr does not have a negative effect. In fact, it gives everyone on your team 20% attack speed at the beginning of combat. So that's why I think this item is really crazy. I mean, all the Radiant items are crazy because you can only get one the entire game. They're all really strong. But 20% attack speed on everyone on your team at the start of combat, and you get to take out one of the enemy units, that feels really good. All right, so here Trist ends up jumping into the backlines, and she ends up dying, but she's got the Guardian Angel, so that allows her to revive. And so she's able to help take down the enemy team. By the way, this is all a 1-star Trist. I want to make this clear. Trist is like my key carry, but she's only a 1-star unit. I actually have not seen one Tristana the entire game. Remember, I got my Trist off the carousel, so I've never seen one Tristana the whole game. So this is me. I honestly have found very, very few Sentinel units in this game. I got the 2-star Senna immediately, and what is it? I got a Trist off carousel. I found 2 Olafs, 1 Rakan, because my other Rakan came off carousel, and then 2 Pikes, and that's it. None of these are particularly expensive units. The Rakan is the only one that's even a 3-cost unit. All the others are 2 costs or 1-cost units. So I've just really not found these units, but I'm kind of making it work anyway. All right, so here it's the beginning of stage 4. I believe that I'm going to level up to... I see that there's a Soraka there. I was like, wait, I'm missing Renewer, I'm missing Dawnbringer. And I actually get the perfect team in terms of traits. No wasted traits at all. 3 Skirmisher, 3 Sentinel, 2 Renewer, 2 Dawnbringer, 2 Hellion, 2 Cannoneer. How rare is this that you hit the team that is perfectly put together with 0 wasted traits whatsoever? This is honestly kind of hard to do, and also not always that useful, let's be honest, but pretty perfect here. So I was just like, you know, this is beautiful in terms of my team composition. Anyway, there is a Galio on the other team. This is someone else who's playing Sentinel's team composition. But me with my perfect trait setup, honestly, is kind of tearing through this team pretty good. Just have to deal with that Trist on the other side. There we go. And that's going to be it for this particular setup. So yeah, their Trist was probably better itemized. I think that the items I have on Trist are maybe not ideal. You don't really want Last Whisper unless you can pair it with some other item that gives crit chance. Generally, Last Whisper, Infinity Edge, good to pair together, but I don't know if they're great items on Trist necessarily. Alright, so here I have a chance to pick some other items. This is 4-2 Armory, which is now standard, and now finally I'm hitting some Sentinel units. So I see that the glove is there, and I was like, you know, I've got this Chain Vest on Rakan. I can't really make good use of the sword or the bow with that. Let's just go ahead and take the glove, and we'll make a Shroud of Stillness, because remember, we're not really going to get a lot of components from this point out. Trist already is pretty well itemized. What I really wanted was more tank items, but I couldn't find them. And here I was like, should I play the 2-star Pike over the 1-star Olaf? Normally that would be a no-brainer, since Pike is a 2-cost unit. By the way, Pike's ability is exactly the same from set 4. A lot of people will be familiar with it. But you know, then I'd lose Skirmisher, and that did not feel like it was worth it to me. So I decided I would keep Skirmisher in, even though it means playing a 1-cost 1-star Olaf over a 2-cost 2-star Pike. So yeah, there we go. And we're spending a lot of the fight hitting this. I think it's an Aurelia on the other team who has a Radiant Gargoyle Stoneplate, so is apparently healing like crazy and just not dying. But as long as Trist is alive, I have good odds to win the fight, because her Deathblade's going to keep getting stacks, and she can keep armor shredding on the enemy team. So end up winning that fight as well. And I'm actually on a 6-match win streak right now, even though I still am playing through a 1-star Trist, which is kind of amusing here. So yeah, looking pretty good on this long winning streak. I kind of have expected the win streak to end. I figure now I'm going to econ up to 8, and then I'll roll on 8 and look to get into my endgame team composition right here. So I'm looking at some of these other team compositions, trying to see which teams I might be most likely to hit. And I see that this person, Huakai WSL, is on a win streak. I was like, huh, haven't seen that comp in a while. What if I position my Zephyr so it hits their carry, just in case I hit this comp? And guess what? I do hit this comp, and I hit a Riven who's been made into an assassin. I was like, huh, that looks like a strong unit. Maybe let's take that unit out of the fight for 10 seconds while my whole team benefits from the 20% attack speed that's on that Radiant Zephyr. So we're going to kill the rest of the team, and now it's just the Riven left over, and I was like, boy, this unit looks strong. It's a good thing I didn't have to hit that unit from the start of the fight. So anyway, positioning for the win, scouting for the win. Even at the beginning of the set, when you don't really know what all these units do and what the best in slot builds are, you can still set things up so that you can use basic stuff like knowing how to manage economy, scouting to try and position well, hitting Zephyrs, hitting Shrouds. So I've kind of got the utility team here. I have the Shroud of Stillness, I have a Zephyr. So my setup is pretty heavily utility based. I don't really have a tank for my team comp. And I will be the last one to pick, which is not a surprise given that I've been on, like a 7-match win streak at this point. I was going to go for the Kale just because she's a 5-cost unit, and then I end up taking the Nocturne because, well, Nocturne is a 3-cost unit. I have no particular plans for this tier. I figure I'll just find something to do with it. Now, there are a bunch of Rakans here. I was considering, should I go for 3-star Rakan, but ultimately I was like, what would getting a 3-star Rakan... Excuse me, what would getting a 3-star Rakan really do for me? He's not that critical to my team composition. What I'd really like is a 2-star Tristana, but I literally have seen not a single Trist in the shop the entire game. There's someone who's got the new Radiant Shroud of Stillness, which is another great utility item. Really like that item as well. In addition to the big Shroud increase in mana cost, gives everyone on your team, I think right now, 15 extra mana at the start of combat, which is pretty crazy. So instead I'm going to get this team. This person's already gone to level 8, and their big carry is a Misfortune. But once again, we're going to Zephyr the Misfortune out at the start of combat. And I was noticing that this unit was in the same location as that... Riven on the team I just hit. So I was like, all right, I'll just keep the Zephyr in the same place because I haven't seen this comp in a while either. And even though that comp's level 8 and I'm only level 7, and they have a 2-star MF with interesting items, I'm going to end up winning that round too. But yeah, imagine if I had a 2-star Trist. I mean, geez, 1-star Trist carrying pretty hard here. I think Trist's numbers are a little bit overtuned, and she probably needs to be toned down a little bit. I also have not found Galio yet, which is a bit of a disappointment because Galio is supposed to be the front line for this team comp. But with only 1 round to go before the minion round, and me on, like an 8-round win streak, I definitely want to go ahead and level here and look to put in the Pike, just because it'll help me. It doesn't make any additional traits, but another 2-star unit will hopefully help me win this round because I really like this win streak to carry through on into the minion round, and then we'll have to look to try to make some kind of endgame team composition from here. I can't stick with the Trist long term. I mean, especially if I had like a 3-star Trist, I could maybe play that as my late game carry, but 1-star Trist is not going to carry hard enough to be my late game carry, so I'm going to have to look to go into another unit. And the natural unit for that is Lucian, so I'm going to be looking to go for that. Once again, Trist dies during the fight, but again, the Guardian Angel, really good item on her. She's going to come back to life, and that's enough to win this fight. Although, actually, Nidalee did the most damage. I don't quite know how Nidalee ended up being the unit who does the most damage in the fight. But I find a Lucian, and now it's time for me to drop the Trist for the Lucian. I definitely want the Last Whisper and the Deathblade on him, but I don't quite know what my last item is going to be. I was like, I'll wait and see what pops out from these minions and see if I get anything useful in terms of that tier. If not, I'll just go ahead and put the Guardian Angel on Lucian as well. I don't think these are the right Lucian items. Honestly, I don't quite know what his best items are right now. I think that the Hand of Justice is probably one of his best items. And I end up getting another tier. And then I get a Spatula, which I was like, oh, I don't really have a good use for this Spatula. I can't really make anything particularly good. And I'm actually going to waste a fair bit of time noodling over what to put here. All right, so I toss in the... And well, I make 2-star Lucian incredibly easily, so okay, that's nice. You also see me stacking the Misfortunes here because I want the option to play Cannoneer. I wanted to test out if Cannoneer 4 was good, and I keep getting more Lucians. I was like, all right, so many Lucians, I'll just keep playing these. But I need another, and then I get yet another Lucian. But what I really need is I want to get up to 6 Sentinel so I can get the larger shield. So I end up dropping the 2-star Cannon, and I play Aurelia. And at this point, I was like, all right, I'll put the Guardian Angel on Lucian because I can't see another better item to put on. It's like, all right, so we got 2-star Lucian with 6 Sentinel and 2 Cannoneer. This should be really good, right? I mean, this should be really strong. I've got the 2-star Lucian this early. He doesn't really seem to be doing that much damage. And, I mean, I guess this is okay, but, you know, he's not you know, you'd think with these items and with 6 Sentinel, he'd just be cutting through the enemy team. He's not really doing that, though. And this is kind of the early word on the PBE is Lucian a little bit underpowered, that his numbers are probably a little bit on the low side. So, yeah, he will probably have to get buffed. We'll see how long it takes that to happen. Again, I've got this spatula. I'm like, do I make a renewer spat? I mean, I guess technically I could take out the Ivern if that's the case. But then what do I do with the other item? What's the other item I could potentially make? Or do I make blue buff here? I think in retrospect, what I should have done was make the renewer spat because I can at least kind of use the renewer spat. And I think I also should have picked up Garen here because Garen would be a good complementary frontline to Galio whenever I find him. They're both knights, and frontline is kind of what I needed here. Frontline was my biggest weakness. So things I would do differently, as I said, still super early on in this set. But like I was lacking frontline, and I think I could have made better use of this spatula here, which I really didn't have a use for. Like, you see, I just kind of got crushed in that round. And I feel like my team should be stronger than this based on what I have. The skirmisher, what I would ultimately end up doing and what I'm moving towards here is looking to drop the skirmishers because I don't think the skirmishers are really doing all that much in my team composition right now. Look to maybe drop the skirmishers, and I was going to look to try to go up to 4 Cannoneer. But I actually need to pick up the Trist for that. So I really should buy the Trist here just because I need her for potential 4 Cannoneer. All right, so here I hit the 2-star Misfortune. I was like, oh, now I'll go to 4 Cannoneer. And then I was like, wait a minute. I'm missing Trist. Oh, whoops. So I should have picked up another Trist. And at this point, I'm just rolling to try to see if I can hit any of them. But again, this is what's frequently the case when it's a new game. I'm also just going to replace the Ivern with the Heimerdinger, although that continues my problem of not having frontline here. And there I finally do see the Tristana, and I think I pick up the Trist here because that will allow me to play 4 Cannoneer. So I've got 6 Sentinel, so I've got the larger shield. I think the 6 Sentinel is, what, an 800 HP shield? Yeah, 800% shield, and plus 100% attack speed to whoever has that shield on them. So I really wanted to go on Lucian so he gets the big attack speed bonus for a little while. Like, he actually got the shield right there, and he got the attack speed boost. But notice my entire rest of my team is dead, and I've lost probably 40 health in the last 3 rounds, 45 health in 3 rounds. So, yeah, if you can't put a team together in Stage 5, you take a lot of damage really fast. So I'm realizing this is not working. I need to change up my team. I need to get some different units in here. And, aha, look at this. There's actually a Cannoneer emblem on the carousel. I was like, oh, Cannoneer emblem, let's take that. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get that because it gets snapped up immediately. I was like, that would have been nice to have. I legitimately could think about playing 6 Cannoneer if I had that because I could, I could put in the Trist, or I could put in the Misfortune, hold the Trist, and then maybe there's like a very slim chance that I could get, maybe there's like a very slim chance I could get another Cannoneer emblem from like the carousel or so, from like another carousel or something. But I go ahead and take the Gargoyle Stone Vest. All right, so this is the other new thing is when you drop below 40 HP, you get this, I don't quite know what to call it, thing that pops out, like this box that gives you extra stuff. And I'm actually going to go ahead and put in I get a Cannoneer emblem from it. And that's going to allow me to go up to 4 Cannoneer. And now I've still got all these items, and I have to figure out what the heck do I do with these items. I have way, way too many items sitting on the bench unused. So I really should make a static Shiv, and then I should probably look to just hold the other one, or maybe make a Renewer emblem, because maybe I can get to Renewer 4. Maybe. The Heimer is not really that useful in this comp. I really should not be playing Heimer. I should make a Renewer emblem, and then look to play like Garen along with Galio for frontline. Galio, who I still haven't seen yet. But the 4 Cannoneer did seem to make a lot of extra difference in terms of more damage. So again, Cannoneer, I mentioned this earlier in the video, but Cannoneer, every 5th attack gives you a cannon shot. Basically like Tristana's explosive shot. Every 5th Cannoneer attack does a percentage of the attack's damage in an explosion. And 4 Cannoneer is 550% damage. So Lucian's attacks, Senna's attacks, now Heimer's attacks, amusingly, go up. I go ahead and I think I look to, what do I do here? I think I'm rolling to try to finally find Galio. And nope, another Recon, but that's not going to do anything. I was like, can I actually find a Galio here? And then finally I find a Galio. Also find 2 Akshans, who I seriously should have considered putting in, because he is a Sentinel unit. I have to imagine he'd be better than the Olaf. Like, I should buy the 2 Akshans and put him in. and ditch the Olaf, and then sell the Heimer and put the Cannoneer emblem on Akshan. So anyway, a lot of things I could have done better here in this game, but as I said, still very, very new in the set, still trying to learn here. But like the Olaf is doing precisely nothing. He's a 1-cost unit, and his Skirmisher trait is no longer needed in this team composition. So Akshan is a bit overpowered right now, and it would be nice if I could showcase him in this video. But nope, not going to happen. I do not use the 2 Akshans, but hey, I do have 8 Lucians right now, so there is the chance for me to maybe find that last Lucian, get up to 6 Lucians. At least I do know have a Galio. I do replace the Olaf with the Galio, but he's Galio 1-star, which is not great. So like I said, I think I could have done better here. Ideally, make the Renewer spat, make a static Shiv, put some of these items on Akshan, and use him as my 6th Sentinel, and then I don't need one of these units. I could get rid of something else here. I could, I don't know, I'm sure I could take something out here. Could probably take out Aurelia, and yeah, I could take out Aurelia, who's another Sentinel, and I'd still have 6 Sentinels. Anyway, so stuff to keep in mind for the future. I just got this dead Spatula that's not doing it. There's another Akshan. I could have had Akshan 3-star. Also, like I said, should have played Garen. But fortunately, it doesn't really matter because I end up hitting the 3-star Lucian. And I get another another Zephyr as well, which is just such a weird what the heck moment. So I got the Zephyr, Radiant Zephyr, and now I also have just another Zephyr that pops from the last Dragon round. So even though my team comp is kind of flawed here, which is what you'd expect at the start of the set, we're all trying to figure stuff out, I'm going to have a Lucian that is a 3-star Lucian. So we'll see how hard 3-star Lucian can carry. Alright, so my double Zephyrs go off. I don't hit anything all that important. But now that Lucian's 3-star, he should do like a lot of damage, especially with the 4 Cannoneer. Anyway, he actually dies in this fight, but he comes back to life, and we're going to win this fight pretty good. I should describe what Lucian's ability does. It's basically comes back from set 2. Those people who can remember all the way back to set 2. I'll just read the description. Lucian faces the farthest enemy and fires 16 shots in a direction for 4 seconds, dashing on occasion to keep hitting the enemies. Each shot hits for 50% of his attack damage and deals magic damage. Lucian fires extra shots based on his attack speed. So the base damage is 40 at rank 1, 75 at rank 2, 200 at rank 3. So the damage more than doubles if you 3-star him. And his attack damage ratio is 50%. So I'm not exactly sure what his best items are. I think that the Deathblade is pretty good because the shots hit for 50% of his attack damage. Beyond that, I'm not exactly sure. I think Hand of Justice is pretty good because Hand of Justice will increase both physical and magic damage. Would also give him a chance to heal off of his shots if he rolls the healing. Or actually, no, the Hand of Justice has been reworked, so you always get at least a little bit of a Lifesteal and Spell Vamp. So Hand of Justice feels good, Deathblade feels good. I don't really know beyond that. Last Whisper, probably not an especially good item on Lucian because he spends a large portion of the fight firing his guns, not actually auto-attacking. So the Last Whisper probably not that great. But anyway, these are not terrible items. They're decent. I mean, he did just do 18,000 damage. Unfortunately, that was a ghost round, so we didn't actually do damage to anybody. So that's a bit unfortunate right there. But team comps are getting knocked out, and thanks to me high-rolling this 3-star Lucian very easily, by the way, just got a gazillion Lucians. My team comp's pretty strong. So in this situation, you want to be thinking about, well, who else is strong? And by the way, yet another Akshan. Not playing Akshan, pretty inexcusable here. Akshan is a Sentinel unit, so you definitely want him in your comp. Then I also just go ahead and make the Hellion Spat, which is also stupid because there is always the chance for me to just find another Spatula. Like, there can be a Spatula on the carousel, so I 100% should hold on to this Spatula. Anyway, I'm looking to position for this team, Huakai WSL, who's been the strongest, is on a win streak, so I'm looking to position for this comp. Just to point that Zephyr at the 3-star Nocturne that's over there. I don't hit that comp, which is a little bit of a disappointment. I actually wanted to hit this comp and try to knock them out of the lobby because that comp is getting close to 3-starring some assassins. By the way, Lucian just eliminates Karma so quickly in this fight. And at this point, even though Garen is incredibly tanky, we should be able to finish him off as well. And that's going to eliminate that player. And now it's down to just 2 players left. And it looks like it's going to be the assassin player, who's going to be just me and this person leftovers. All right, so now it's down to just the 2 of us. And unfortunately, I'm not sure that my comp is all that great against assassins. By the way, there is another Cannoneer emblem here, and I really should take the Cannoneer emblem and then look to play 6 Cannoneer. Like, look to find another MF. What would I be missing right now? But instead I take the Trap Claw, which would be good against some team comps. Trap Claw was reworked so that it's basically the same thing as the Shadow Trap Claw from before. But I should have taken that Cannoneer emblem, and then I would have 5 Cannoneer, and then I'd just have to find Trist, and I'd be able to play 6 Cannoneer. Like ditch one of these units and just get up to 6 Cannoneer. It's extremely powerful. But I remember how I said the 5th Cannoneer shot on Cannoneer 4 is it's 500%. It's 500% damage, 550% extra damage. But at Cannoneer 6, it goes up to I think 2,000%. So it quadruples the benefit. So a little bit silly not taking that. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead. I actually do hit the Zephyr, but unfortunately for me, the Viego on the other team jumps right on top of Lucian. Now he won't die because he's got the Guardian Angel, but with Lucian out of the fight, I can't win this. And in fact, the Assassins are going to tear right through my team. Unfortunately, got a 3-star Nocturne with very good Nocturne items and a 3-star Assassin Lee Sin. So I was like, oh, that's not good. But yeah, so now I decide, well, that fight didn't go very well, so let's try a different position. Let's try boxing in my carries. Like, let's try boxing everyone up and see if that works better. Boxing your units does tend to work well against Assassin team comps. I also mispositioned in that previous fight. I should have had the Trap Claw next to Lucian. If I'd had the Trap Claw next to Lucian, the Viego wouldn't have been able to do anything because the Viego ult would have been blocked by the Trap Claw. And I still have the I took the Trap Claw off that carousel and I haven't really used it. Like, the Trap Claw is protecting Aurelia and it's protecting Misfortune and Senna. Like, these are not the units that need to be protected. Need to get that on Lucian, who's my carry, so that's a mistake in the positioning. Yeah, Lucian would not have been grabbed by the Diana, but it doesn't really matter because Nocturne annihilates him, and that's just it. I get crushed in these fights. They're not really that close, so positioning mistakes, team composition mistakes, a lot of things I could have done better in this game. Like I said, we're still very early in this set. First day on the PBE has not released yet officially. So anyway, there you go. There's some gameplay footage from set 5.5. Wanted to get this up quickly. A couple of us were on the PBE last night checking it out. Headwinder, Grillo, Antisocial were also on here, though they were not in this particular game. Overall, it's fun, but a lot of it is the newness factor. I think that there's very little content here in this set, and I think people are going to probably get tired of it pretty quickly. I don't think there's enough here for 3 months, honestly, but I guess we'll see. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, have a good one, and I'll see you guys again soon.